see if I can record this and then place it on YouTube for later. I've been placing different videos. We don't have too many yet, but my hope is to keep adding to. So if you're a YouTuber, just look for Adv Yoga and Wellness and you'll find a couple of things on there if you want to go take a class, even when it's not time for me to be live streaming. So YouTube, Adv Yoga and Wellness page. All right, I'm gonna hop over to my mat and we'll get started. All right, come to a comfortable position, seated on the floor. You might want to use a blanket. I like to use mine because of a low back issue. And if you find that you're rounded or not really sitting on the sit bones, try using a folded blanket or maybe a beach towel. And let that lift the low back out of the pelvis so you can sit a little taller. Maybe roll your thigh tissue in and down, the inseam of the pants toward the middle and down, and take the buttocks flesh straight back. Perhaps that helps you get a little more on the sit bones, which then lifts you up a little taller to the spine. There's something that we use in yoga a lot. It's when we take our hands together for what we call Anjali Mudra. And we often say namaste. But I don't know if people really know the significance of that. And I thought I would bring it to your attention. Often the meaning behind it is the higher place in me or the divine in me sees the divine in you. Or that place of love and light and truth in me sees that same in you. And the end of that phrase is, and when we are both in that place, there's really only one of us. The hands signify a meeting of the minds and a meeting of the hearts. It's an external representation, if you will. And there's a lot of variations to that namaste because we say nama or namaho. Sun salute we call the Surya Namaskar. Surya is the sun, so sun salute or sun salutations is what we translate it. But the namaha actually translates to not mine. And it's a way of us seeing something in someone else and sort of negating our own ego. And I don't know, it's a very sweet gesture. It's a very deep gesture. It can be spiritually very deep. But I'm afraid it's gotten a little bit almost cliche. People, namaste, or when those dreadful t-shirts that say, pardon me, this is what they say, namaste, bitches. And I'm like, that doesn't even go together. So I felt like it was maybe appropriate to bring this to your attention, the true deeper meanings of a phrase we use so often in our yoga class. So perhaps carry that around and ponder that for yourself. And hopefully that helps you have a deeper appreciation for some of the Sanskrit things and words and phrases we use. So namaste. I do see the higher in you and hope that we are in the same place. So let's get started. Finding a good seated position, you'll want to have a pelvic bowl, like a bowl. So the top of your hips are basically like parallel to the floor and even. You're not rocking the pubic bone forward or sitting too forward on the sit bones, causing it to spill out from the front or back. And then we're able to stack the vertebra of the spine on top of there. Let's rest our hands on the lap with the elbow directly under the shoulder. And then slide the sides of your throat back ever so slightly, allowing the back of your head to line up more with the back of your pelvis. Once all that feels just right, close your eyes gently. We'll allow our breath to flow in and out at whatever is our own natural pace. Smooth the eyebrows and the forehead as your mind's eye stays with the breath, right at the tip of the nose. Seeing the breath come in, seeing the breath go out. We'll take the hands from the lap, place them together at our hearts for Anjali Mudra. We inhale deeply and then exhale it all the way. Inhale fully for Om. Om. Follow me. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Your turn. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere, may all beings everywhere be happy and free. Be happy and free. May the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life, may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way, to that happiness, to that happiness, to that freedom, for all, for all. Oh. And to true teacher within, we bow. Take a few breaths here, wiggle around if you choose, and just feel how you're doing today. We'll walk our hands toward us so we're upright. Take the hands back behind and lean on those so you can switch the feet the other way. Press into the earth and get tall on the inhale. And pull the waist back when you exhale to fold over a second time. Wiggle around, feel your body. And then come back up nice and tall. All right, so we're going to come on to the all fours position in what we call tabletop. If you have any knee issues, you may need to open that beach towel and have it a little bit thinner, but as a pad under your knees. If you have no knee issues, no worries. You'll take all the props off of your mat. So you'll face the short end of the mat, and we'll call that the front for now. Take your hands about shoulders width apart, and then let the wrist crease where your hand comes to the arm makes a wrinkle. That wrist crease is going to be parallel to the front short edge of your mat. Your knees are under the hips and the feet are straight back from the knees. Let's do a little cat-cow. When you exhale, press strongly into the floor with your hands and knees as you pull your belly button and breastbone up high. Drop your head. On the inhale, reach the tail back and slightly up. Pull the armpits back, you'll feel the heart come forward. So exhale, round spine, pressing into the hands and knees, dropping the head and pubic bone toward each other. Inhale the tail back and the armpits back. Feel the heart pull forward. 2 more times. Exhale, round for cat. Inhale, long front for cow. And 1 more. Exhale, round spine. And come back to neutral. Walk your knees back just a little bit. And tuck your toes so your toenails show. Inhale from the pubic bone to throat for cow. But on the exhale, press your hips back, back through the bent knees. And then lift the knees off the floor for downward facing dog. Keep the knees bent and the heels up for now. Hug the forearm below elbows toward each other as you widen where the upper arm meets the shoulder. If you can keep your front bottom ribs in the body and the spine really long, see about going towards straight with the legs, but only if you can keep the spine in that really great alignment. One more breath. Lift the head, look forward as you inhale. Shift the shoulders over the wrists and exhale the knees back down. Once they're on the floor, widen the knees about as wide as the mat and prepare for child's pose. The big toes are pointed now. They come together and you sit your hips back on the heels. You can leave your hands out in front and really press forward like you're stretching the mat. That'll pull the hips back even farther, but listen to your body. One more breath. Lift the head when you inhale and come back up to the all fours position. You'll need to tuck the toes so you can press into that and take your knees back under the hip. Walk your knees back a little bit. Inhale, open the front body by lifting the tail and heart in two different directions. Exhale, hips go back through bent knees. Press your hands forward and lift the knees off the earth for another downward facing dog. Keep hugging the forearms and widening the upper arms. If you can, drop one heel and straighten that leg. Then lift that heel and bend the knee. Let's keep that bent as you extend the second leg. And then bend and lift. One more on the first leg. Stretch out the back of the leg and bend it. Lift the heel and take the second foot towards the earth as you straighten the leg. Bend the knee, raise the heel. Lift your head as you inhale, shift the shoulders forward. Place your knees on the ground, widen the knees, point the toes, and sit back in child's pose. If you prefer, you could put your hands one on top of the other and place your forehead on the pillow of hands. One more breath here. Good. Now let's come up to a standing position. You may want to come into the all fours tabletop. Tuck your toes under, and then come back with your hands, press your legs, and straighten those as you may roll up or hands on hips and lift up through the spine. All right, take your time and find a tall, upright position. You may need to stretch and sort of shake things out. And then once you feel everything's fine, we're going to walk to the front of our mats. Remember, that's the short end of the mat this time. Find Tadasana, mountain pose. The feet will be about hip bones width apart or a hair closer together. Let the second toe of each foot point straight ahead. As you press into the feet, feel the action really ground you into the earth. From there, you're able to lift up through the spine and get super tall. On the inhale, we prepare. And on the exhale, take the hands into that same Anjali Mudra you used before. As you push into the earth, inhale, sweep the arms wide and up. On the exhale, stay tall. Take the hands back around and into the heart. We'll do that one more time. Push into the earth as you inhale, sweep the arms really wide. They can stay apart or come together. Stay tall and exhale, back around into the heart. Now we'll add on. Push into the earth and inhale, sweep the arms wide and up for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, swan dive, wide reach with the hands, hips go way back, and your hands go to the floor next to the feet. Inhale, raise your heart halfway. Hands can stay on the floor or come to the shin. Pull the shoulders back. Exhale, pull the belly up and drop the head. The hands are on the floor next to the feet. Stay here with hands. As you inhale, the right foot goes way back in a lunge. Keep the knee up and flatten your hands. Exhaling the other foot back for downward facing dog. Shift forward as you lift your head and inhale into plank. The knees can come down. As you exhale, slide your throat back towards the ceiling and hug the forearms so the heart comes down. Point your toes, press into those. As you inhale, the heart forward for Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Exhale, go down, and then flip the toes so your hips go back through bent knees and lift for downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your head, step your right foot up by your right hand. If you needed, your left knee could be down and that hand helps your foot get forward. On the exhale, lift your hips high and let the left foot step next to the right foot and fold here. Let's take the hands to the hips, elbows point up, and let's press into the legs as you inhale to standing. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Maybe your heart's going a little faster and the breath is a little faster, but let's catch the breath and make sure you're always doing it so that you can breathe. Anytime the breath is labored or jagged or you can't catch your breath, take a break or slow it down, but you want to be able to breathe. Okay, we'll do the other side. Activate the feet. When you're ready on an inhale, raise the arms, reaching up, you might look up. Swan dive. As you exhale, really deep crease at the hip, head and hands are down. Inhale, bring it up halfway. Broaden the collarbone, press your legs straighter. Exhale, let's fold back down. And stay here. Inhale, your left foot goes way back in a lunge. Flatten the hands. Exhale, the right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the head and shift forward for plank. Remember, the knees can be on the floor. Slide your throat back, hug the legs and arms as you exhale, come to the earth. Point your toes, press the toenails, and pretend to drag the hands back as you inhale into cobra. Exhale, take it down and then back as you flip the toes, hips to heels and up, downward facing dog. We're staying for 3 breaths. If you prefer child's pose, take the knees down. Let's all inhale. And exhale. That's 1. Inhale. And exhale. That's 2. Inhale. And exhale. And that's 3. Look forward and inhale, your left foot steps up by your left hand. Exhale, lift the hips high and step your right foot next to the left and fold. So maybe hands are on the hips so the elbows can point up. Lift the chin a little as you inhale, stand up slowly. And exhale, hands back into the heart. Good job. All right. So let's step to the center of our mat, facing the long end of the mat now. Once you're there, found that really steady stance, Tadasana stance. From here, we're going to step really wide. So as you inhale, the feet step apart, and they might be as wide as the length of your leg. If that causes you to feel unsteady, narrow your stance. Preparing for triangle pose, you may need a block, so grab it now. Place it in your left hand. As you inhale, widen the hands, shoulder height, and then exhale, push your right heel out to the right, and the left foot turns the opposite direction, but all 10 toes point to the left. Your block could be in this left hand. So when you reach across as though you're going to touch a little wall over there, you reach and get stretched, and then we'll come up. We're going to do that 2 more times. So keep holding the block in your left hand if you're using the block. Press into the right foot and inhale, reach across. You don't want to go down. You want to go reaching towards the wall and back up. So we're really getting long in the leg and also our side body activated. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. And when you exhale, the block can come down beside your ankle or your shin, and the other hand comes straight up. If this is too much for your shoulder to have the hand in the air, Place your hand on the hip with your elbow bent and pointed upright. If you don't need a block, place your hand on the floor on the little finger or little toe side of your foot. One more breath. If you are using a block, bring it with you as you push into the feet, hug them toward each other and inhale, come up to strong stance. Turn all 10 toes to the long end of the mat. Release your arms for a second. You're going to take the block into the other hand. Push your left foot's heel out to the left and turn your right toes to the short end of the mat. Inhale the arms to about shoulder height. Exhale there. You might even look over your front hand's middle finger. As you press into the back foot, activate all the way through the body and inhale to reach like you're going to slide across a little table. Come back up. Press into the earth. Inhale, reach. Try to keep the front leg straight and come back up. One more time. If this shoulder's tired, this back arm can bend and have hand on hip. And then when you exhale, that hand comes down with the block. The other hand can be straight up or again, elbow up. Soften the shoulder, the top shoulder blade toward the back of the room. See if that opens the heart a little more. Maybe the hand is straight up above the other hand. Now, as you press your feet, squeeze those and inhale, come up to tall. Exhale, turn the 10 toes to the long end of the mat, and then walk the feet together as you relax the arms down. Good. Get rid of the block, put it to the side. And if you have any kind of hips that are talking to you, you could wiggle around a little bit. Okay, hopefully everybody's doing great. So we're gonna do one more thing to prepare. This time, if you have the blocks, you'll need both of them. Both blocks. You might not use them, but I'd rather you have them right there in front of you, just in case. Now, I know this sounds simple, but the blocks have 3 heights. So know that you're able to make them the shortest height, the middle height, or the tallest height. But you want to have 1 block per hand if you are using them. So let's place them right here in front of us, but on the floor. In other words, you're standing on the mat and your blocks will be right up against the mat, but on the floor in front of you. Now the feet will be together, maybe hips width, but not wide like we were just a minute ago. So when you're ready, second toe of each foot straight on like Tadasana, and then release the arms to the side. Okay. Inhale and lift the heart and reach the arms like you did before. Swan dive as you exhale and bring your hands to the floor, either on the floor itself or on the block. Flat palms, straight legs, straight arms. Now, lift your eyes a little so you're looking at the floor between your hands. Don't look at your feet. Press into your 2 arms, straight arms, and your left straight leg, and lift your right leg to as high as you can, keeping the foot over the color of your mat, not in back of you. 1 more breath, and take it down. I bet that was a surprise. Okay, we're doing the other side. Straight arms, flat palms, lifted head so you're looking between the hands, straight legs, activate through your right foot. Then lift the left leg straight, breathe, and then on the exhale, take it down. Woo! Take your hands to your hips, point your elbows up, feel the shoulder blades on your back, and lift the chin a little. Press your legs and straighten those as you inhale to tall. Yes. Okay, shake that out. So that was a big workout for the hips. So we're going to utilize that in our next standing pose, but it is a balance pose. So if balance is a challenge, maybe move your blocks to the side and step onto the floor instead of the mat. If you have a carpet, it might not be much help. To do that, you might need to touch a wall for stability, but you could stay on the mat too. It's up to you. All right, find Tadasana wherever you are. Really strong stance. Soften the shoulders, just let your head go side to side. Make sure you haven't created more tension when we were working out pretty hard just then. Whenever you're ready, exhale the hands into the heart and remember that higher meaning of our namaste. Shifting the weight to your left leg. Maybe fix your gaze on something that's not moving, and that'll help your balance. As you lift the right leg for a little hug, you can have your hands clasped in front of the shin or in back of the thigh. Think about the shoulders relaxing and your right buttock's going to point downward through the sit bone. One more breath. See if you can lift your heart a little higher. On the exhale, release that foot. And if you need a little big wiggle or a bend in the knees, do what you have to do. Get it right for you. Okay, so fix your gaze again. You'll shift the weight to your right leg. And when you're ready, lift your left leg and clasp where it's appropriate for you. Pointing your left sit bone down where it may feel more stable. Slide your throat back a little. See if you can lift your heart and maybe your eyes. One more breath. Good, and take that down and shake it out. Okay, hopefully y'all are feeling good. I am. All right, I love yoga. So take the weight to your left leg. Lift your right leg like you did before. Keep your right foot flexed and your right hand on the shin, the outer shin or knee. Take your left hand to your hip. Stay like that and open your right knee to the right. Keep the hug with the legs even though they're not symmetrical. If you're able, reach your left hand to the left. Palm faces forward just like your heart. If you want more challenge, turn your eyes to look at the left hand. One more breath. Take it to the front, your hand, your knee, your eyes, and to the floor with that foot. Shake it out. All right, we have one more side. So here we go. To the center, get solid. Shift the weight to the right leg and lift your left leg. Let's do the hug. Keeping your left hand here, right hand to hip. Maybe flex your left foot. It's a little stronger that way. Let's open that left knee to the left. Make sure you can breathe wherever you go. And if you choose for a little more intensity, raise your right arm and point to the right with your fingers. Even more difficult would be to turn the head and look towards those fingers. One more breath. We'll take it to the front again, closing it where we started, and then take it down and shake it out. Good job. Okay, so we're going to face the short end of the mat, what we call the top of the mat. Feel how nice it is to be on two solid legs and feet. On the exhale, back to the heart with our hands. Press into the earth and inhale, sweeping the hands wide and up. Look up if you choose. Swan dive as you exhale, bending knees if needed. Hands are on the floor, beside the feet. Inhale, bring it up halfway. Remember, shift your hips forward a little bit, even if you have to lift your hands to shins. Exhale, pull the belly up, drop your head, bend knees if needed. Inhale, your right foot goes way back in a lunge, like we did before. But this time, exhale your right knee to the floor. So if you need your pad, grab it real quickly and place it under your right knee as you walk your right knee back a little bit. So it's behind the hip, not under the hip. Now, your right hand could be on the floor. If your right leg is back, it's your right hand on the floor, or your block if you need to raise the floor a little bit. Let's take our left forearm onto the left thigh. Make sure your right kneecap, the one that's on the floor or blanket, is feeling okay before you bend this right leg. Make sure that's fine. Swim the arm, left arm, around and see if you can grab the little toe side of this foot. That's a lot. Lift your heart if you're able. Slide your throat back. One more breath, maybe even look up. And then take the foot down. The hand comes down. And we're going to step the left foot back. If you have the blanket, you may need to just move it out of the side for a second. We're going to child's pose. So you can have hands in front like we talked about with long arms, or the hands stacked on top of one another to be a pillow under the forehead. Breathe there. And then your hands will be under the shoulders to bring yourself back up. Now I'm going to turn around because I don't like to have my back to the camera, but you guys are going to step your other foot forward. So your right foot's in front and your left knee is way back. And you might have a block under your left hand. Remember, you don't want to be on the kneecap proper, but more a little bit higher than the kneecap is the soft tissue of the bottom of your thigh. That's really what's on the floor. So when you're ready, see about bending this back leg. Feel the stretch in your quad, the front of the thigh. Maybe swim the right arm so your shoulder's way back on your back. See if you can grab that little toe side of the foot. Press the foot into hand, open the heart by sliding your throat back a little more. Big stretch. Release that. Place your hand on the floor. Walk your right foot back again. You're in child's pose. So move whatever props may be in your way. Make some space. And then allow yourself a breath or two there. We'll walk our hands under shoulders and press ourselves back up. All right. You may or may not need your beach towel or your blanket, so let's grab it and have it close by. I'm going to turn this way, but you'll probably stay on the long direction of your mat, that orientation. Right now I'm sitting on my feet, but what you want to do is sit to the side of the feet and extend your legs in front. And again, you're probably facing the short end of the mat. Just give a little bounce or a little rock, whatever feels good. If you find that you're sitting really rounded, like we talked about at the beginning of class, you may need to use your blanket or beach towel under the sit bones so that you're able to have your sit bones point straight down and your low back can lift a little higher. Grab that if you need it and put it under your butt. So once that's in place, we want to keep the left leg straight and the foot is fairly flat. The tendency is to let the foot and leg flop open. Imagine you're rolling your inner thigh in towards the other leg and down, which allows the knee and toes to stay pointed up. So if the right leg is the long leg, toes pointed up, you'll bend your left knee, bring the foot in towards you. This is a little tricky. And if you can, slide yourself on the inside of your left foot. In other words, your knee is bent, not too wide, straight out of the hip if possible, straight forward. And your heel is on the outside of your left hip. The 5 toenails are on the floor. You may need your blanket under that buttock if you're tipped way over. Hopefully we can get a little more balance and feel as though both buttocks are grounded. If this is really killing your left knee, then I would say the 2 options are to place something like a rolled up washcloth behind the back of the knee, between the back of the thigh and your calf. That way your knee doesn't have to close quite so tightly. One more breath. That was me making you distracted so you would sit here. And then you may want to lean to the side where the long leg is so that you can take the weight to lift your knee here. Your left leg is going to extend. If your blanket's under your bottom, you may feel very awkward, so take that out. And let's do a little, I'm going to say a massage On the sides of your kneecap, just rotate your hands this way, like a locomotive, wheels on an old locomotive. Do that on the sides of your knee, and that's probably going to feel pretty good. Excuse me. So that's your long leg this time, second time. Rolling the inner thigh in and down, and your toes and knees stay pointed up. If you need, rock slightly to that direction so you can bend the other leg and bring it close to your hips. Bending the knee all the way, place the shin on the floor, and if you can, point your toes so that all 5 toenails are on the earth, your hips on the inside of your heel. Using your blanket or beach towel under either buttock if you need something so that you're not quite cocked over to one side. If this isn't a big deal, for some of us, you don't really feel the thigh stretching, or there's no big deal going on with the ankle. So you would want your hands back behind, and you could lean on your elbows. But if your knee pops up off the ground and doesn't come back down right away, that's too far. You don't want to lean back so far that your knee can't settle back down. So listen to those little indicators and get out of the ego. Stay with the form, not the drama. One more breath. So perhaps lean on this hand so that you reach back and grab the right ankle, the knee points up, and then slide your right leg fully. We'll do this little massage on the sides of the knee again, making sure everybody's fine before we move on. So we have a thing we do in class sometimes to make sure our knees are in the proper position after we've done these big thigh openers. If you pretend, and don't really lift it, but pretend to lift your left heel off the earth, the leg is straight and the heel is not lifted all the way up, but you feel like you are. You're going to feel your thigh get very toned, quad. It's resetting your knee. Okay, so you could do that once or twice. Pretend to lift the heel off the earth, but really leave it down and release that totally. Let's move our attention to the second leg. So pretend to lift that second heel. You can feel with your hand how strong the quad muscle turns on and tones, and then release that and do it one more time if you choose. Pretend to lift the right heel. Feel your kneecaps very stepped and this quad is strong, and then release that. Good job. We're coming on to our knees. You're going to have both blocks available so that we can do a modified camel or ustrasana. So if you have books or blocks, you'll have them back by your feet. I'm going to use a tucked toe position. Some people call this rabbit. Rather than pointing the feet and having the toenails on the floor, but if you do ustrasana all the time, you're welcome to go to this variation instead. Absolutely. It's just a little bit bigger opening. So for many of us, it's smarter to start with the tucked toe position. These blocks would be back here by our feet or maybe by the ankle. I'm going to use the tallest height. You may not need that much help. So before we go to that position, just put the blocks where you'll maybe need them in a minute. And then imagine that your tail will point down, but not so big it's a cat tilt. You want to keep your thighs back and your tail pointed down without pushing the pubic bone to this wall in front of you. So hug the legs towards the center. Think about the thighs staying slightly back as you point your tail down. Take the hands to the hips. Draw the armpits up by your ears like you're shrugging. I don't know the answer. Like, I don't know. Do that. Shrug up with the shoulders. And then pull the inside edge of the armpit back. The elbows point more back. Slide your throat back. Keep the legs back and the tail down. Now, as you do all of that, press into the knees, lift your heart and inhale, lift your heart and look up. Keep the neck in neutral, no dumping the head. Hug the legs, point the tail, lift the heart, one more breath. Keeping the head back, lead with the heart as you inhale back to vertical spine. If you want to, point your feet and sit back on your feet for a little break, but you don't have to do that part. Okay, we're going one more time. So back up on knees, make sure your blocks are where you want them, if you're using them, and then flex the feet if you did point them. Make sure your toenails show. Hug the legs to center. Keep the thighs back as you point your tail down. Feel a little toning in your belly. Your hands can be on the hips. I would like you to think tail down with the pressure of the hands, the heels of the hands. Help your hips stay down. Elbows are back. Lift the heart. Slide your throat back. Look up. If you want, reach down. Your hand comes to those blocks. Lift your heart. Head in neutral. One more breath. Hug the legs. Lift with the heart. Head stays back. Inhale. And then the head's on the shoulders. As you point your toes, exhaling, have a seat. Beautiful. All right, that was a big back bend. Hope everybody's doing fine. We're going to do one more. Those who don't want to use blocks, or you want to point your feet for more, or if you feel like that was a lot, go to child's pose. But you can always make it harder or easier. The main thing is honor whatever's coming up for you. That's yoga. All right. So I'm going to put my blocks to the side, but I'm going to keep my heels up. So my toes tucked, so my heels are a little higher. And that's where I'm headed. Hug the legs, point your tail down, and take your shoulders up and back. Hands are on your hips. Big breathing. You know, you may not take the hands down, just lift the heart and play around with that. Let that be your pose. And then if you want, your hands can come down or not. One more breath, lengthen the neck, no dumping the head. Lift the heart, keep head back as you inhale, come up. Head comes on top. And then if you choose, point your toes and sit back on your heels. Let's all go to child's pose. Move your props out of the way. Widen the knees a little bit. And point the toes so the big toes can come together. Reach the arms in front for more active child's pose. Or hands stacked like a pillow under the forehead for a more passive child's pose. Take care of you. You'll know what works best at this moment. One more breath. Let's come out of the child's pose. We're headed to downward facing dog. So you'll have your hands towards the front short edge of the mat. Make sure the toes are tucked so you can bring your knees back to about hips width. Walk your knees back just a little. And when you're ready, inhale, lengthen the heart and the tail apart from one another. Exhale, the hips go back. And then lift your knees. Excuse me, keep the knees bent this time. Pull the rib cage way in. And with the knees bent, you can get a bigger stretch in the spine, which is very important right now. One more breath. Good. Lift the head. And your knees come down. Very good. From this tabletop position, you may or may not need your blanket. We're going into a modified pigeon. Walk your right knee forward towards your right hand. See if you can get your right foot in front of your left knee. Okay? So the more in the middle the right knee, the front knee is, easier on your hip. If you're a little more flexible and have no knee issues, your right knee can be more to the right. This is where you may need your blanket. You're walking your left knee back. And if you can, bringing your right buttock to the earth, but not at the stake of your left hip. If dropping the right hip to the ground rolls your left knee and hip off the earth and twists you to the left, you need to place your blanket or your beach towel under the right buttock. So now you can roll the left hip and knee more downward, facing the chest and the hips, toward the short end of the mat instead of the long end. This might be a lot. You might want to stay here. You could even use your blocks under your hands. If you feel you have a little more, you could walk your hands forward and maybe come to the elbows. Make sure you can breathe. You can get a little sensation, maybe in the hips or the thighs, but you don't want any sharp pains ever. So really be guided from the sensations your body is telling you. One more breath, maybe close the eyes, just get out of the ego about how close to the floor you are. When you're ready to come back, use soft blinks to open the eyes. You may want to tuck your back foot's toes, show the toenails, because that might be helpful in a minute. We're going to walk these hands toward us, get flat palms real strong, and press into those hands as you push into the back foot to help you get your knee off the floor and then allow the right knee to come under the right hip where it started, back in your tabletop. All right, if you use the blanket under your buttock, you may need to go ahead and move it to the other side, just preparing just in case. Once you have everything where you need it, walk your left knee forward towards your left hand. Move your right knee out of the way so you can get your left foot in front of the right knee. Then perhaps walk your right knee back, fully extending that right leg. The back foot can be pointed or tucked. It's not too important which way you choose. Now, if you have just rocked your right hip and knee open to the long end of the mat, we need to prop up the left hip with a block or a pillow or your blanket. Get settled there so the two shoulders and two hips can point toward the short end of the mat. Stay here. Maybe you're on your hands or either hands on blocks, or perhaps walk yourself forward and place the elbows on the ground. Relax into it wherever you go and see about the breath. Is it still smooth? Soften your face. We're walking the hands toward us. Tuck your back foot toes. Press into hands in the foot so you can lift your knee and place your left knee under your hip again. Let's go to child's pose or downward facing dog, whichever one calls for you. Take a breath or two here. And then come down from down dog. Sit back on your feet so you can take the feet to the side, sit down, and swing your legs around in front. Hopefully you're feeling really good. I want you to stretch those legs, fully extended. Have your hands behind to brace. And just bounce your knees and rock across your hips. Make sure everything's feeling fine before we move on. We are going to roll to the floor. If you know you need props, make sure that your blocks and your blanket are close by if you feel like you might need them to prop in your final relaxation pose. So go ahead and roll down onto your back. If you want, you can pull your belly back and use your core on the way down, or not as intense if you hold your hands on the legs, or touch the floor with your hands. That's a little less intense. So let's all roll onto our backs. Once you're there, extend your legs fully, flex your feet like the feet are against the wall, and stretch your arms to reach the wall behind you. One more breath. Now, relax the arms by your side. Bend both knees again. And I'd like you to cross your right ankle across your left thigh. Some people call it a figure four. Some people call it kind of like how guys sit. There's a big hole right here. We're sliding. If it's the right leg that's crossed, the right arm goes in between the legs. Lift your left foot off the ground. And if you're able to clasp in front of your shin, you do.
If you have any knee issues, maybe hold behind the thigh instead. Now, relax the sacrum to the floor. The sacrum is the big flat bone right above your tail. So we don't want to pull the thigh in so tightly it rounds the spine and makes your waistband touch the earth any more than it was before. No rounded spine. We want neutral spine. So drop the sacrum back down, even if your knees need to go away from the chest a little bit. You might feel a stretch in that right buttock or low back. One more breath here. We will disengage the hands. So unclasp the hands. Place the left foot on the floor. Cross your right thigh all the way over. Now it looks more like lady sit. Pick up your hips and move them to the right if it's the right leg on top. Your left hand can come to the outer right knee or thigh, and it helps the legs go toward the floor on the left. If this is not really workable for you, you may take your block and put it under your knee or your shin. See about the reach through the arms. Extend those from your heart out through the fingertips, about as high as your shoulder, but relax on the floor. If you can, look back towards your back hand, your right hand. One more breath. So on the inhale, turn your face to the ceiling. On the exhale, squeeze the thighs towards center. You'll roll onto your back with your knees up. You will need to push your hips back into the middle. Now let's uncross the legs. If you only have one book or block, you'll need to move it to the other side. So first, cross your left ankle across your right thigh sit. Slide your left hand from above into that hole between the legs, and then lift your right foot so you can clasp behind the right thigh, or if no knee issues, maybe in front of the right shin. Breathe here, allowing your sacrum to drop back down towards the earth. One more breath. So unclasp the hands and place your right foot down. Cross your left thigh all the way over the right thigh. Pick up the hips, move them to the left an inch or two. Your right hand might cross to the outer left knee or thigh, and your left hand reaches out from the left shoulder on the floor. Inhale. When you exhale, roll onto your outer right hip, drawing the legs across towards the floor on your right. You may be slipping that block under your knee or shin. Depending on what your neck says, you might look back past your left fingers or to the ceiling, or even in the direction where your knees are pointed. One more breath. Let's turn the face to the ceiling, and when you exhale, squeeze the legs to center, rolling onto your back. Let's pick up the hips and move them a little bit to the right so you're back in the middle, and then uncross the legs. If you wish, bring both thighs up towards your chest. Without crossing the ankles, keep the feet side by side and flex. You can have your hands rest on your knees or your shins. Pull your belly button straight down towards the floor. Lift only the heart, but not the tail. You want to stay really grounded in the sacrum like we did before. If you have absolutely no spine issues, you might rock from side to side. But don't do that if you know you have some things that you need to be careful of. After a couple of rocks, we come back to center, release the hands, and release the feet to the ground. We're ready for our final relaxation pose. We're extending both legs and then widening them about as wide as our mat. But for some of us, that's not super comfortable in our backs. You may benefit by taking your blanket or the
beach towel if you have it, and then opening it so that you could then roll into a big roll to slide behind both knees once you're reclined again. If you don't have the towel, but you do have blocks or books, just slide one book or block behind each knee. Hopefully that'll help your back relax even more. Once you've figured out what your back needs and you have your knees supported, if that's appropriate, allow your heart to open even more. You might find widening the hands a little and turning the palms up to the sky allows the shoulders to relax even more. Once that happens, if your ribs popped way up to the sky, soften the front ribs back into the body. Close the eyes. Relax your face. Maybe you have tension in your jaws, which is very common. Perhaps this would be helpful. Lick your lips and then blow air through the lips like a motorboat. And then lightly close the lips again. Notice the teeth remain separated and the jaw remains soft. With the eyes closed and the tension released out of the face, it feels almost as though your eyeballs sink back towards the back of your head. Let the skin of your forehead become very smooth. It's like the outer corners of your eyes slide toward your temples. If you feel you have any tension left in your body, you may want to clench your buttocks, cheeks on purpose. And on the next exhalation, totally release all of that buttock flesh back into the earth. Let yourself be here, supported by Mother Earth. There's nothing you need to do. And there's no place more important for you to be. Allow your attention to come back to this room. You might take a deep inhalation and let out a big sigh. Let it go. If you wish, direct your breath all the way down into the fingers and the toes, causing them to move in small, gentle ways. Maybe circling the ankles and the wrists. You might walk your legs a little closer towards center and reach the arms back so you can take another stretch. Then relax your arms by your sides. You'll bend the knees, walking the feet in near your hips. If you use blocks or a blanket, you'll move it to the side. Then let's push the hips a little to the left so that you can roll onto your right side with bent knees and relax in the fetal position. When you're ready to come to seated, you'll use your hands and arms pressing into the floor to help yourself up. Find a position that works for you. And perhaps you set an intention for this practice. Let's reflect on that now. With gratitude for the practice and for one another, we inhale deeply and exhale it all the way. Then inhale fully for Om. Om. Iti Om. Shanti, 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 which means peace, peace, peace. We take thumbs to the third eye. We bow our heads downward towards our hearts, honoring that divine spark that's within each and every one of us. To that spark, to one another, we say, namaste. We raise the head to sit tall. We lower the hands to the lap. We open the eyes gently. Then I say a bunch of words and you say Jai. Om Bolo Satguru Bhagavan Ki Jai. Spirit fingers. I'm so grateful to have you with me today. I know you know, but there's 2 ways to donate if you feel inclined. We have a GoFundMe that's only good through April 9th. So if you help me raise $500, their small business relief initiative will match the $500. But we have to raise 500 or more for it to take effect. And we only have till April 9th. So if it's not your thing, please pass the word. Maybe somebody else would like to help. Also, you're able to help by just paying for this class. If you choose to, you would go to our website, advyoga.com. On the home page, click pricing, and then make a purchase. It'll bring you to a page that has lots of squares. Click on classes, and then choose how much you'd like to donate. There's a $5, $10, and $15 option. So thank you so much. If it's not in your budget, know that we offer these for free. Feel absolutely no obligation. We're just glad you're with us. We miss you, and we'll see you in person really soon. Take care of yourself. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was good to see you.
You too. That was beautiful. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.